Have you ever pushed someone away before they could get too close? Maybe you've convinced yourself that being alone is easier than risking the pain of being hurt. Welcome to Mind Matters. I'm your host, Dr. Nina Savell Rocklin, psychoanalyst, here to help you turn your subconscious into your superpower. Today, we're looking at walls, emotional walls. Those are the invisible barriers we build to protect ourselves from rejection or vulnerability. They make us feel safe, but they also can prevent us from experiencing love, closeness, and true intimacy. So today we're going to look at some of the more subtle walls we put up. You might not even realize these are, in fact, emotional walls. Like, okay, consider if you've ever assumed the worst about a situation without knowing the truth. Maybe you thought someone was upset with you, but you had no actual evidence. This is called mind reading. And no, I am not talking about the psychic network. Mind reading is when you convince yourself that you know exactly what someone is thinking about you, and it's often not so good, right? Like you send a text to a friend, and when they don't respond right away or in a timely manner, you think, oh my God, they must be pissed off. I must have done something. They must be upset with me. And you start replaying every conversation, every interaction, trying to figure out what happened. Before you know it, you are convinced that they are angry, disappointed, or, oh, worse, annoyed with you. Then they text back and they say they've been swamped with work, so busy, and when can you get together? How is mind reading a wall? By expecting the worst, we think we'll be prepared for something bad that happens, but in reality, we're only pushing other people away and reinforcing our fears. So take a moment and think back to a time when you felt ignored or rejected. What story did you tell yourself about why that happened? And was it really true? Probably not. And by the way, if you are psychic, well, then I have some questions for you. Yes, we need to talk. If you're psychic, hit me up because there are things I want to know. All right, so let's go deeper with some real life examples. In my book, The Binge Cure, 7 Steps to Outsmart Emotional Eating, which you can find on Amazon, I share stories from clients who struggled with mind reading. Arturo, for example, Arturo, for instance, came into my office one day and started talking about his weekend. He'd watched a movie, spent time with his girlfriend, played a round of golf, or played a lot of golf. I don't know, spent the afternoon. I don't understand golf. I don't know if it's a round. I don't know if it's many rounds, however golf works. Anyway, I was just listening. I was taking in what he was saying. And suddenly, Arturo stops, looks at me and says, "You're right. I should have done more work this weekend. I can't believe how lazy I am." And I hadn't said a word. Arturo was totally mind reading. He believed I was thinking the same things about him that actually he was thinking about himself. And why was he thinking that about himself? Why was he thinking he should have done more work that weekend? Well, that internalized voice belonged to his dad, who had often labeled him as lazy whenever he wasn't working or being productive. So Arturo was trapped in this old narrative and assuming that I would see him the way his father had seen him. And then there's my friend Kelly. So we went out to dinner. She ordered dessert, and then she looked really guilty. And she said, I know what you're thinking. I have no business eating apple pie. Now, why would she think this? Again, I didn't say a word. I didn't make an expression that said, you have no business eating apple pie. I didn't think about her ordering apple pie. All I thought was, I'm going to have a bite of that apple pie. Looks good. So why would she think that I was being so judgmental? Because her mom used to food police her and body shame her, and Kelly assumed that I was looking at her with the same judgment that her mom had looked at her. So the important takeaway here is this. Mind reading means you're having thoughts and assumptions based on past criticisms and judgments from other people. So if you do this, and you know what, we all do this to some extent, Consider, whose mind are you actually reading? The person you're with or someone else? Maybe even yourself. And if it's yourself, where did you get those thoughts? Here's how to stop mind reading. Check in with reality. When you assume someone's thoughts, and you know what they say about assume, makes an ass out of you and me. When you assume someone's thoughts, pause and ask, what do I know for sure? What are the facts? What is, not what if, right? What if is fear. Oh my gosh, what are they thinking? They must think whatever. What is reality. What do I know to be true? So stay with the facts instead of believing your fears. Also, ask for clarity. Imagine that. Communication. Consider asking the other person directly if there's anything you've done to upset them, or if they're thinking what you think they're thinking, or anything like that. Yes, it is a vulnerable move to do this, but vulnerability leads to connection. Consider alternatives. Instead of mind reading someone and assuming they're upset with you because they haven't responded, as an example, consider what else might be going on. Maybe they're busy. Maybe they're going through something difficult in their own lives. Maybe they have their own challenges, and it's not about you. It's about whatever's going on with them. All right, so that's mind reading. Another way we build walls is people pleasing. Have you ever agreed to do something you didn't want to do just to avoid disappointing someone else? Most people will say yes to that question. But it is one thing to be considerate, quite another to be a people pleaser. People pleasing might sound like the opposite of building walls. After all, isn't it about connecting with others, making them happy, being there for them? How is that wall building? But actually, people pleasing is a form of self-protection. It is a way of avoiding rejection or criticism by doing whatever it takes to be liked or accepted, but then not really known. It can be really subtle, like you're at a party and someone offers you a drink and you don't feel like having a drink, but instead of saying no, you say yes because you don't want to risk offending them or be seen as not fun or something like that. It's so subtle, but it's taking care of somebody else instead of yourself. Or maybe your friend or your boss asks for a favor. And even though you are totally overwhelmed, your to-do list is 47 miles long, you agree because you don't want to disappoint them. Now, this might seem harmless or even like you're being, again, considerate, but wait, over time, it comes at a cost. When you present a version of yourself that you think others want, rather than showing up as your true self, you are like a chameleon. You are changing colors to blend in with what you think others want you to be. But in doing so, you lose your own true colors. I'm not sure a chameleon has true colors, but you get the idea. So take a moment. Here's something to do. When you're done listening to this or watching this, take a moment and imagine drawing a self-portrait. Actually, two self-portraits. One is the face you show the world. The smiling, happy, all is well. I'm good. That face, if that's what you show the world. And the other is the face you keep hidden. What would happen if people saw the real you? In fact, give it a try because this exercise can be very illuminating. It is not about being a good artist. It's about understanding yourself better. So the more we focus on pleasing others, the more we disconnect from true connection. Here's an example. Melissa. She constantly felt overwhelmed by her responsibilities. She took on extra projects at work. She always said yes to helping friends. She rarely made time for herself. Now, as a child, you will not be surprised to hear that as a child, she only got praise and affection when she was being good and helpful. Melissa learned to please others out of a fear of being rejected or unloved if she didn't meet other people's expectations or gratify their wishes. Everyone liked her What's not to like? She's taken care of them all the time. Whatever they want, she was there for them. But nobody really knew her. Here's why people pleasing keeps you disconnected. When you constantly put others first, you end up building a wall again between your true self and the world. You're surrounded by people, maybe, but you're not letting them see you. They're connecting with a version of you that you curated instead of the person that you really are. You may feel resentful or exhausted because you're always giving and rarely receiving. And this resentment becomes another barrier, which prevents true, genuine closeness and intimacy. Or maybe you gravitate to people who don't give at all. You give and give and give and give, and they take and take and take and take. It's transactional instead of relational. It's a relationship that's based on what you do for them instead of a meaningful connection. And again, if you're always pretending to be what others want you to be, it's hard to believe that people can actually accept you for who you are, your perfectly imperfect self, who might actually have needs and wants of your own. Hello. By the way, those matter. You matter. Here's how to break free from people pleasing. Identify your true needs. Take a moment. Ask yourself, what do I really want? What do I really want and need in this situation? What do I need and want in this friendship? And am I getting it? It might feel uncomfortable at first to think about you if you're so used to, but you, what do you want? How are you? But acknowledging your own needs and wants and that you matter, and I want you to hear that in like large caps, you matter. Acknowledging that you matter is the first step towards showing up authentically. Practice saying no. Start with small things. If a friend invites you to something you're not interested in, just politely decline. No, I don't think I'm going to do that. No, thanks. You don't have to give an explanation. Saying no doesn't mean you're rejecting the person. It means you're honoring yourself. Oh no, that doesn't work for me. Just start there. Just get used to it. Dip your toe into the pool of saying no. Eventually you will be swimming in the deep end, but we all have to start somewhere. So start with what you can manage. And be curious. When you're about to say yes to something that you don't want to do, that you're saying yes when you really want to say no, ask yourself, am I doing this because I really want to, or because I'm afraid of the consequences if I don't? Just check in with yourself. Just start noticing that. You don't have to take action. Just start by noticing. Eventually, you will be able to say no much more readily. Because when you say no to other people, you're saying yes to yourself. That is not selfish. That is self-care. And remember that true, meaningful, satisfying connection happens when you show up authentically. Otherwise, you know what? You're the great and powerful Wizard of Oz. And everyone's like, ooh, the great and powerful Wizard of Oz. But really, he was just a dude behind the curtain who was perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with him. He just thought he had to project this image to be liked and feared. He didn't. His true self was perfectly nice. Another subtle way we build walls is called intellectualizing, meaning we analyze and overthink everything instead of allowing ourselves to actually experience life and feel things. And relationships are built on feelings too. So by intellectualizing, we don't allow closeness. And intellectualizing feels protective because it keeps our emotions at arm's length. But again, we miss out on people who we also are keeping at arm's length. We miss out on emotional connection with ourselves and with others. So I sorry, Mom, but I've got to share this story because my mom, her reaction to something is a perfect example of intellectualizing. So a few years ago, I had to tell my mom that her sister had passed away. Speaking of not having close relationships, they had a terrible relationship, hadn't talked for decades or whatever. So I had to break the news to her. But my mom, a professor of philosophy specializing in logic, P.S., talk about it intellectualizing, totally intellectualized the news of her sister's passing away. She said, "Oh, so many people are dying these days," right? She made it an intellectual thought, not a feeling about, oh my gosh, how do I feel about my sister passing away, even though we weren't close? So intellectualizing means you're in your head instead of having access to your heart. Here's how to move beyond intellectualizing. First, just name the emotion. If you're in your head, sometimes it's hard to find out what you're feeling. But take a moment and ask yourself, what am I feeling? Mad, sad, glad, afraid, ashamed, guilty, lonely. Those are some of the core emotions that most feelings, when you distill them down, it's one of those: mad, sad, glad, afraid, ashamed, guilty, or lonely. Stay present. Focus on what's happening in your body. If you're trying to figure out what you're feeling and you have no idea what that is, notice what your body is telling you. Feel the tightness in your chest or the butterflies in your stomach, whatever it is, whatever sensations arise in your body, translate them into emotions. So tightness can be fear. Heat, you know that heat you feel when you get mad? Heat in your body can be anger. And butterflies might be anxiety or excitement. Start translating what is your body telling you about what you are feeling. Why do we call emotions feelings? Because we feel them physically. We feel them in our body. So start translating. And last, express them. You can't ignore feelings. You can't drop them. You can't positive think them away. Oh my gosh, you cannot positive think them away. I'm doing a show on this later, so look for that one. And you can't stuff them down. You can't drink them away. You can't work them away, right? The only way to get rid of feelings is to feel them. So, and that means express them. That means saying, even I'm having a bad day, I'm upset. Start small. That can help you break down the wall just a little bit. And it's even better if you can tell that to somebody else. When someone says, "How are you?" instead of the automatic, "Oh, I'm great. How are you?" that we all do. I'm fine. You know what fine stands for? Effed up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional, right? No, you are not fine. What are you? What are you feeling? Oh, I'm happy. Or, yeah, I'm kind of stressed out. Just share that. Just start small. And I get it. It is hard to be vulnerable. That's why we often downplay our need for connection or dismiss our feelings. We tell ourselves, it's fine. Remember my definition of fine? It's actually not my definition of fine. It's from a song. It's from a movie. I love it. We tell ourselves, hey, I don't need anyone. It's no big deal. I'm good. I'm good on my own. Well, during COVID, most of us found out we are not good on our own. We need connection. Right. So intellectualizing and staying in our head and trying to explain things away, that is just another wall we build to protect ourselves from disappointment and also we protect ourselves and never get comfort from somebody else. No one can hug you through a wall. So when we downplay things, this is actually another wall. Downplaying is called minimizing. And here's how to stop. Acknowledge again your feelings. Recognizing that you have feelings is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength and authenticity. And reflect. Whenever you have that urge to be like, it's no big deal. All good. I'm fine. Other people are struggling. I don't have real problems. Other people have problems. I remember once a patient was late because she had gotten rear-ended on her way to her appointment, and she had to wait for the and she'd come really early, so she actually ended up at the appointment, but she had to wait for someone to come and tow her car and all this stuff. And I said, well, that must be really frustrating. I am so sorry you went through that. So she says, oh, I'm not frustrated. I mean, other people have real problems. Like, there are people who are just trying to get through war. Like, think about what's happening in Africa. People are dying of AIDS and eating sand. Like, this is no big deal. Well, you know what? It was a big deal because she still had to deal with her car. Like, your problems deserve your attention. Don't minimize them. Don't compare your situation to someone who is going through, a war or something like that, or famine or starvation. Your problems matter. Yes, you can put them in, you can contextualize them, but don't dismiss them. And consider where this urge to minimize comes from. Did you learn early on that expressing what was going on or expressing how you felt was ridiculed or downplayed? Did people say, oh, but think about the children starving in Africa? You don't have a real problem. So your friend rejected you, boo-hoo. That's not a real problem. And I'm not even making that up. I've heard that many times. Maybe you learned to dismiss your own experience. And remember, connection is human, and you are human. You can't think away your feelings. And you need to be able to get in touch with yourself to be connected to another person. Now, here's a question for you. Have you ever said anything like, well, when I lose weight, then I'll start dating? Or when I have a better job, then I'll be more social. Or when I do this, then I'll do that. Whatever it is. That's called bargaining. Bargaining is another way we build walls. Bargaining means putting our lives, our connection on hold, telling ourselves that when we achieve a certain goal or standard, then we'll connect with other people. Then we'll do something that puts us, with people. Oh, the vulnerability. And this when then mindset is what bargaining is. That's the when then mindset. It keeps you trapped. You are waiting for a future that never arrives while the present slips away. After all, what is the saying? Life is what happens when you're making other plans. Bargaining keeps you stuck behind the wall. Here's how to stop bargaining. Appreciate who you are right now. Remind yourself you don't have to earn love or connection by achieving something or by achieving some perfect state. You are already worthy. You are perfectly imperfect. And by the way, have you ever met a perfect person? I haven't. They don't exist. Perfection only exists in geometry. And I think that meeting a perfect person, haven't we all seen the movie Barbie? Perfection sounds awfully boring, doesn't it, when you think about it? And take action. Take action today. Instead of waiting for the perfect moment to meet new people or hang out with your friends or whatever, take a step towards connection now. Send a quick text. Check in with a friend that you haven't talked to in a while. Just do it. Put this on pause. Do it now. Invite a coworker or a neighbor or someone just to grab coffee. Start small again. Join an online community, social media group related to one of your interests. Sign up for a class you're interested in. Volunteer for a cause you care about. If you like dogs, go volunteer at the pet shelter and, pet a puppy and meet other people who like dogs. Yes, we build walls to protect ourselves, but we can tear them down. Today we talked about mind reading, people pleasing, intellectualizing, minimizing, bargaining. Over time, these walls become barriers to connection, to intimacy, and to love. And change begins with recognizing you're the architect of those walls. You're the construction worker of those walls. You built those walls, but you can also demolish them. You can tear them down, or you can just brick by brick take them down slowly. You can do that, and you can have connection and all that goes with that. Yes, you built those walls and you can build them down. And if you're afraid of that connection, remember that knowing and being known is a profound part of the human experience. And you deserve that. It can be messy, it could be scary, but it could be amazing and wonderful and satisfying and glorious. It can be all those things. So don't play it safe. That wall that you built to protect yourself, maybe it's imprisoning you. Let's break out of jail, break out of prison. Let's be in the world. All right. Thank you so much for listening to the show today. Please join me next time when we tackle You Belong Here, tackling imposter syndrome head on. Oh, yes, imposter syndrome. You know it. You know what that is. I'm going to help you stop being an imposter on my next show. And be sure to follow me on all my social media channels. Until then, remember, your mind matters.